Iconic, mind-blowing, bulk meteries, world class. Just a few of the tributes heaped upon NT Barramundi fishing experiences and what sets it apart from fishing anywhere else in the world. Can you hear me good? Volume good? A lot of people tell me they think that I've got the best job in the world. I'm pretty sure a lot of people think that I just go fishing every day. But the truth is, I do have one of the best jobs in the world because I get to advocate for a passionate community and a valuable industry. 60,000 adult Territorians go fishing every year, often with the whole family in tow. It's more than just a pastime. It's a way of life for many people. And we all know that recreational fishing is the best form of therapy that anybody could hope for. And believe it or not, the science is in. Australians who go recreationally fishing are more resilient and more likely to overcome challenges and adverse events that life throws at them. Now, there's a lot of great things about living in the Territory, but it also comes with its fair share of challenges. Jobs. Jobs will be one of the main focuses of the Territory election later on this year. We know that. The recreational fishing and tourism industry provides 2,500 jobs to Territorians. Jobs on the water, jobs in retail, services, manufacturing and hospitality, just to name a few. It's 2,500 jobs, full-time jobs, and it could be, and it should be more. $270 million. You've heard that figure a few times today. It's a good number, it's a big number. That's the contribution that recreational fishing made to Territory GDP in 2019. Now, to be fair, as Alex said, not all of it can be attributed to barramundi. But let's face it, barramundi are the backbone of the recreational fishing industry in the Territory. Barra are the most targeted species by locals, and they are the main draw card for tens of thousands of tourists to come to the Territory every year just to go fishing. The barramundi fishery is the Northern Territory's most valuable fishery. And this huge return that it gives to the Territory cannot be attributed to the $3.5 million of the average value of landed commercial catch over the last 10 years. The Territory has a $270 million industry with barramundi as its backbone. And this year, we're asking the NT's political parties, the two major parties, to adopt targets and to adopt policies that towards achieving a $500 million recreational fishing industry by 2030. We want our industry to step up and to play our part in growing the Territory. We know that it has the potential to do this. But to do that, we need to get the settings right and we need the help of government, whichever party is in government, to do that. We want to see thousands more long-term sustainable jobs for Territorians in recreational fishing and tourism. And we want world-class barramundi fishing to continue to be central to the way of life with a growing population. But it's crystal clear to us now that the path we're on currently is not going to take us there. The current state of barramundi management and the underpinning policies are simply not good for the future of our community, for our industry, or for optimal returns to the Territory. We heard today from Paul about the changes that are happening in Queensland. The phasing out of gill netting there poses a direct threat to our main competitive advantage, our world-class fishing product. We simply can't compete with Queensland on infrastructure, diversified tourism offerings, the price of airfares. We have to offer the best quality barramundi fishing in the world long into the future. If you're not moving forwards in a competitive environment, we've got a room full of business people here, then you're moving backwards. We heard from Alex earlier about the great strides that were taken to put barramundi fishing in the NT on the map. It wasn't an accident that we ended up with the reputation that we have. It wasn't an accident that we all get to enjoy the great barramundi fishing that we have today. It was the result of difficult and always contested policy decisions. The kind of tough policy decisions that are also going to be required to meet the very real ecological challenges that Dr. Guida was talking to us about earlier today. There are so many challenges here that inaction is not an option. The impacts of commercial gill netting on barramundi are not good for the environment, and we know they're not good for recreational fishing. Concentrated industrial gill netting for barramundi is not good for food security when it's practiced adjacent to Aboriginal remote communities either. And it's certainly not good for tourists who have paid thousands of dollars for a bucket list fishing trip only to be encountered by a wall of kilometre-long gill net or bays and estuaries suffering from localised depletion after the netters have moved on. Look, we're 3 years into a long-awaited review of barramundi fishery management. And as the peak body for recreational fishing, we had high hopes. But what do we have today? There's been a focus on achieving export approval for a small value but high impact commercial fishery. And we have the same amount of net now being squeezed into less waters following closures over environmental concerns. We have newly minted commercial fishing rules that didn't even last 1 week before emergency interim arrangements had to be brought in. Arrangements that only came about, mind you, in response to the very real concerns raised by AFANT and the NT Guided Fishing Industry Association in October of last year. And while our concerns about the impacts of concentrated gill netting on recreational and tourism catch and on fishing experiences have been acknowledged by the government, our argument for conservative, weight-based quotas were ignored. The interim controls that were rushed in at the start of the season allow for gill netting to occur at 10-year high levels in the Daly, Roper and Moyle catchments this year in 2024. And yet, when this was introduced, and this is the part that really should alarm people, commercial fishers were not happy about it. They didn't think that it was okay for this control at 10-year high levels to be imposed upon them. As I said, we had high hopes for the review, but since it's begun, the situation has only got worse. We're left to conclude that without fundamental policy change, world-class barramundi fishing and all of the social, cultural and economic benefits that it brings to the territory, as well as all of the future promise that it offers, remains under constant threat. Without wholesale policy change, our community and our industry can have no certainty and no confidence. We can't build a vision for future barramundi fishing that's good for the territory. And for this reason, and this is why, we have been, over the past month, deeply engaged with both major political parties about commitments on barramundi policy reform, wholesale commitments that AFAN are seeking in the lead up to the 2024 election. We have told the parties we are seeking commitments to phase out all commercial gill netting in the commercial barramundi fishery in the next term of government. We are seeking commitments for the netting phase out to begin with a partial buyback and the closure of the Daly and the Roper catchments to commercial barramundi fishing beginning next year in 2025. That's what we want to see. That's what we're seeking commitments on. We're requesting that the rest of the nets are phased out over that term of government and allowing time for the industry to adjust. We want to see commercial licence holders and operators compensated fairly, and we want to see training packages for workers to transition to new jobs. The policy changes we're seeking, don't be fooled, will not cause major disruption to the NT seafood supply. Around 95% of NT seafood production will not be affected by what we're asking for. The policy changes we are seeking, though, coupled with strategic investments, will support growth in recreational fishing and growth in the tourism fishing industry. It will provide confidence and certainty. It'll provide pathways for new fishing enterprises and employment, including in regional and remote areas. Complete reform and removal of barramundi gillnet licences will pave the way for a new, genuinely sustainable, premium quality, gillnet-free commercial fishery. But this has to be done and developed from the ground up from day one with the full support and participation of traditional owners and Aboriginal fishing enterprises. That's how it needs to be done. And only wholesale reform provides that opportunity. We're seeking bipartisan commitments that are better for jobs, better for the economy, because unlike gill netting, recreational and tourism fishing industry can be grown and still be better for the environment and still be better for our society. The policy we're asking for will deliver the kind of change that we know tens of thousands of Territorians want to see. Now look, there's been considerable work, many meetings, many people here, but also at AFANT for the last month, we've been done a lot of work, many meetings and conversations with both sides of Parliament. But there is still quite a journey ahead. Make no mistake, the changes we're making, the wholesale changes we're seeking are significant. And so we expect it to take time and we expect the parties to come back with their policies closer to the election. If I was a political strategist, I'd be saying I think there's a good bounce in this and I'd want to be announcing it a little later in the cycle. But we do think it is something that Territorians want and people will respond to. Now, at AFANT, we will always present, and this year will be no exception, a comprehensive vision for the future, and we'll be seeking a range of election commitments to support it. The wholesale reform of the barramundi management and the end of commercial barramundi gill netting is the foundation stone of the vision that we will be bringing and that we'll be seeking support for. Now, looking around today, seeing you all here, seeing you motivated and seeing you interested in this area, I have to say, is beyond encouraging. I'm very thankful to the organisers, but I'm very thankful to each one of you for being here, giving up your time to show that this is something that matters to you. We will be counting on your support as we continue to advocate for change that is better for barra fishing, and we know it's going to be a hell of a lot better for the Territory. So please, take every opportunity to make it known that the change that we're advocating for is the change that is important to you, whether it's for your job, for your business, or for your way of life. Thank you.